Lisa.
Hello, Andrew.
I didn't know whether I'd pressed the button or not then, because it had gone into pause mode. Good afternoon, everyone.
Good afternoon.
A random number did you like that?
Yes.
A random number generator has taken us to Saturday the 5th of February, 1972.
Okay.
Whereupon we find a BBC One starting up at 10 a.m. in the morning.
Okay.
That's a tautology, because you only need to say 10 a.m.
Mm-hmm.
With Wee Bitter. Wee Bitter?
Well, I don't know what to say. I don't speak German.
A beginner's course in German, episode 14, books and records are available. Followed by Zarabanda. Zarabanda? No idea, have you? Spanish for beginners, episode 14. At which point BBC One closes down. But I think that's quite interesting because you've kicked off BBC One with 2 programmes about speaking European languages. Which, if you know which Doctor Who episode we're going to do, and you probably do because you've read it in the description, it's quite interesting because this Doctor Who we're going to do is supposedly about joining Europe, isn't it? So there you go. Anyway, then the weatherman turns up at 11:55. And then you get comedy adventure with the Double Deckers, or to give it its full title, Here Come the Double Deckers, Man's Best Friend. Now, we haven't got round to seeing that one, have we?
No.
But it's about collecting aluminium foil for a guide dog for the blind or something, which does sound very Blue Peter appealy to me. Dastardly and Muttley in Their Flying Machines, a series of comedy cartoons.
Is that it's not Stop the Pigeon?
That is, yes. Yes, that's the thing. The proper... Yeah, it's a bit weird. People always call it Stop the Pigeon.
But it's called
And I loved it as a kid because I remember drawing some pictures of them once with their weird aeroplanes. But yeah, the actual listing is Dastardly and Muttley in Their Flying Machines. Grandstand with Frank Boff. Of course, sort of bogs up most of the afternoon. And at 5 o'clock, Wacko! Wacko in colour.
Yeah, I didn't realise it went into colour.
No.
I thought it stopped in sort of like 1960 something.
No, it only comes back for a couple of years, but Jimmy Edwards and Julian Orchard and Sam Kidd, written by Frank Muir and Dennis Norden. 5:30 is the news, then Disney Parade, and finally, what we're going to talk about now, Doctor Who, The Curse of Peladon. Well, it says part 2, but I think it's episode 2, and I know it is because I can see it over there.
Yes.
And then we'll talk about what follows it afterwards. So if you want to press the button, Lisa.
Okay. And this is quite poignant, really, because Alan Benyon recently died.
Yes.
So it's almost a tribute to him in some
Have
ways.
we got the volume down?
Yes.
Okay, then we'll start. The Curse of Peladon, episode 2. And here we go. Doctor Who theme, it says on the DVD. At least we know we're watching the right show, although the titles are a bit of a giveaway. But I'm far too young to remember seeing this on original broadcast.
Yeah.
I had read the book, but I was terribly excited when The Curse of Peladon was shown in 1982 as a sort of a rather hurried repeat season, Doctor Who and the Monsters. The idea being that it was a showing of stories with famous monsters in. So you had Genesis of the Daleks, Earthshock for the Cybermen, Alpha Centauri makes high-pitched twitters. I didn't know Alpha Centauri was on Twitter. But in our paper it just said Doctor Who meets the Ice Warriors. So I was excited thinking I was going to see a Troughton story. Except there was a power cut because I lived in a tiny little village that had 4 houses in, all running off of a little transformer that came off of the mains, and I think the transformer blew up or something about an hour before Doctor Who was due to start. So I never got to see, because it was like episodes 1 and 2 as a compilation. But anyway, here we are into the story. Alpha Centauri is boggling his eye, or his or her eye about. I don't know quite what pronoun to use in the case of Alpha Centauri. But yeah, there's Alan Benyon. It is, what's this? Is his second appearance?
Yes, his first appearance is
Seeds of Death, isn't it?
Seeds of Death, yes.
And there's that's Hepesh, isn't it?
I think so.
Yes, because the other one gets killed right at the start, doesn't it?
Yes.
Yeah. So this is Hepesh, played by Jeffrey Toone, who is also in Freewheelers as Von Gelb. Mm-hmm. Freewheelers being the show that Wendy Padbury did for Southern.
Yes.
But there's young boy Troughton there in his boots. Mm. What do you think of his cosy?
It's all right. Yeah, it's a bit Shakespearean, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's sort of It's
because the Peladon stories, of course, are rather. Can't use the phrase rather unique, but unusual for the Pertwee era, in that apart from a little bit of sort of film at Ealing and some model shots and things like that, it's pretty much entirely studio. John's got his sort of, as we say, his dog blanket on again, hasn't he? But Jo's sort of dolled up, isn't she? A bit dolled up in this, isn't she? I'm not sure she's that glamorous, but her hairdo's quite unusual, isn't it? Because what was it? All dolled up for a night on the town with Mike Yates, isn't it? Do you believe that? No. Okay. But all these Peladon costumes, I think people have said they're quite like the purple you get in Cadbury's chocolate.
Yeah.
Isn't it?
Sort of dairy milk or fruit nut. Other chocolate is available.
Yes. But on the other hand, Alpha Centauri's green is very sort of like the green triangle thing you get in Quality Street, isn't it? But there's a nice shot of who's it, Arcturus, isn't it? And he's sort of spraying his liquids about.
Yes.
Because this is, I think this is Ian Scoons, isn't it, working on effects?
Probably,
and I remember seeing, I think DWB did an interview with him, and he had some drawings of Alpha Centauri, and he said he wanted, not Alpha Centauri, of Arcturus, and he wanted to make it more frightening than it was, because I'm not sure he was sort of happy with the voice they put on it. But you've got all the sort of bubbling stuff going on. So it's a very complex creation, really.
Yes.
And I like the idea that you actually see a creature in its sort of life support system, isn't it? Because in some ways, you forget when you see a Dalek, you forget there's a creature in there, but here you can actually see the creature inside. So that's quite a nice bit of design work, really.
And I also I noticed Alan Benion's Azixir, is it in this one? Whatever it is now.
Yeah, whichever one it is, I will check.
He's got a sparkly cloak.
A sparkly cloak.
Yeah. So.
Well, I mean,
he's very glam rock.
Yeah.
And then they're all sparkly. Actually, Hepesh is sparkly
when
as well.
Arcturus sort of turned round and trundled out, the big silver foil thing at the back really reflected the studio lights, didn't it? So, visually they put a lot of
sparkle.
Because again, we're early days for colour, aren't we? Isn't there the story about all these sort of flaming torches though cause a bit of a problem with the cameras because they puff out sort of dirty smoke all the time. And Alan Benion's playing Islir,
yes,
as Axis in Monster Peladon. But let's not forget Sonny Caldina's here as Sorg, and he doesn't get a great deal to do, but we'll see him in a minute. What do you think of the sort of hairdos here for the Peladon people?
They're not too bad in this one. They get a bit out of control in Monster, don't they? Because they're like huge and battery. But
Jo's really got the eyeshadow on here, isn't
Yeah, she slapped it on
in the thing. What do you think about their actual implied?
Yeah, it's quite sweet, the romance.
Is it, or is he sort of coming on to her a bit strong? Is he like?
She's not that bothered, is she?
Yeah.
She's not saying no to him.
Okay.
So.
I mean, this does become a sort of a bit of a thing with Jo going to alien planets and people sort of taking a fancy to her, because of course you get Planet of the Daleks as well. That's is it Latep? Is it Lartep? Lartep. Thank you. Yeah. But a nice sort of big close-ups here as well on Katie as well, because this is who's directing this one? Is it
Lenny Mayne?
Lenny Mayne, of course. Yes, it is. Yes, and here we are in the Temple of
Agador.
Agador.
Yeah.
The big Agador statue that you've got here, I know it's made out of polystyrene, but it's a very striking design, I think. Mm-hmm. And I'm surprised that nobody's ever done it as a sort of standee figure.
Yeah.
Because you get all sorts of characters these days you can buy as like life-size cardboard cutouts. Because I know hasn't Russell T Davies got one of himself?
Yeah, I'm not sure it's an official one. I think they might have done that specially for him.
But occasionally he'll move it about the house, won't he, to freak people out? Because we always said that if we had a life-size weeping angel, we'd move it about.
Yeah, move it to different windows
just to freak the kids out.
Yeah.
So the sort of statue here is quite nice. Would you like one in the corner?
I quite like it actually. Yeah, the Agador is quite sweet.
Yeah. All right. Yeah. Okay.
Looks a bit like Alf.
Yeah.
Well, or Alf looks a bit like Agador.
Pertwee's weird sort of magnifying monocle thing here. I don't know how comfortable that is to wear.
Probably not very comfortable.
But it almost looks like he's put. It looks a bit like the sort of the metal things you get round in champagne glasses.
Yeah.
You get the sort of little cage thing to keep the cork in place, and you unscrew it and you have to take it off. It's almost like he's stuck one of those in his eye, and they've just put a lens on the end of it. He's got his little cup here, isn't it? It's like a sort of horn thing, isn't it? But for what his early days for getting Pertwee off of planet, because this is only his second visit to an alien planet, isn't it?
Yeah.
Because
first one.
You've got Colin in space, and then this one. And it's interesting that he sort of slips back into being in an alien planet very quickly. And you could, I know he's been sort of sent by the Time Lords, but they don't make too much of it in this case, do they? Because with Colony in Space, of course, you've got the sequence at the start with the Time Lords deciding to send him. But this time round, it you could almost drop it into a later season when the TARDIS has been.
It's working, and
it's working. Yeah. I mean, clearly these are sort of important galactic events, aren't they? So the Time Lords are, I guess, pushing the Doctor into sort of taking part. Though it's one of those things you think, if the Doctor wasn't here, how would the story have worked out differently? I don't know. I need to sort of sit down and think about that.
Yes. Yeah.
But sort of John Pertwee and Katie Manning are really working well here together. I think that they've got a good sort of
rapport.
They're a good team here, I think. But the alarm's going off now, and isn't it? Arcturus is he's got his missing part. I like the fact he's got this great big sort of red flashing sort of warning light here going on.
Even though he can't see it.
Yeah, it's of no use to him, is it? But he's having a good old sort of flail about, and his bubbles are going like mad. But Pertwee immediately sort of comes in and. But you see what I mean about the silver foil thing at the back? It is quite like a sort of Gallifreyan collar or something like that. I don't quite see what the purpose of it in design terms for the actual life support system.
No.
It does appear to be as though it's only there for show, really, because it's not like it's sort of, unless it's maybe collecting sort of solar power or something like that. I really don't know, but of course, everybody comes in and finds John sort of fiddling with the thing. So it's that thing about what's the Doctor up to. I notice there's a load of smoke coming out of him at this point. In sort of computer terms, smoke doesn't. The moment smoke comes out of stuff, that's the end of it, isn't it? Yeah. I like the idea he can cool down,
on fire, or
cool down, and be all right. But because Islia is. It's interesting that the whole thing with the Ice Warriors here. That, the Doctor sort of suspects them of being up to no good, and even here he's sort of wondering who's done this. So, that thing about the Doctor is Is the Doctor sort of speciesist here a bit?
A little bit,
but then he meets an ice warrior and immediately thinks.
But then the only 2 times previous to this that he's had experience with ice warriors, they've been on the other side to him. So so he tried to kill him.
Joe's sneaking around here, and this sort of chest thing here is very sort of sci-fi, isn't it? You make it silver with weird sort of bobbly, sort of indentations on it.
Yeah.
Now this is this the bedroom for the ice warriors, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
And we've said they've only got one bed.
Yeah.
So do they take it in turns? Do they?
I suspect Sorg either sleeps on the floor
or has to stand outside.
To stand outside. Yeah.
That's a shame, but But
he's a subordinate, isn't he? So.
But here comes Sorg, and as we said, hello to Sonny Caldines.
Yes, bless him.
Because we have we met him more than once?
Only once, I think.
All right, okay. Because I love the fact Joe's shoes, pink shoes, are just poking out from the. She's not very good at hiding, is she? But because there was some sort of auction, wasn't there? And Sonny, or did he have an Ice Warrior picture or something?
Something like that, yeah.
And nobody was bidding for it, so we felt sorry and started the bidding off. I don't think we got it in the end.
No, it went too high.
Once we'd started off, a few people had joined. I love his amazingly huge gun thing here.
Yes.
Which is weird because Ice Warriors have got built-in guns anyway. But as Terence Dix would say, green. The colour for monsters is green.
It's very green in this.
And there are a lot of green monsters in this.
Yeah.
I mean, okay. Alpha Centauri's got his sort of yellowy cloak on, but apart from that, green Ice Warriors, green Alpha, and green Arcturus. So. But Pertwee doesn't look too out of place in his sort of.
No, he doesn't. No.
What colour would you call that? It's not quite salmon, is it? It's a bit darker than that.
It's. I don't know.
And he does actually blend with the corridors quite nicely. So
yes.
It's that thing about Colin Baker's Doctor would immediately stand out.
Yes.
But Pertwee doesn't. He's not like he's totally alien to this environment.
No.
I think. But so camera works. It's not. There's no great sort of shots which really stick in the mind in this. I don't think. Because I think this was recorded very close to transmission. Because I think they did the filming for Sea Devils before this, but this is story 2 in season 9. I seem to remember it was recorded out of order because this is production code MMM, and I think Sea Devils is LLL.
All right.
So this is I think this is the case that, as Dudley would say, he was sort of dubbing the music extremely close to transmission. Because there's the story about him going up and down the road, not necessarily for this one, but he got pulled over by a policeman because he was like delivering the music, dubbing it on, and then recording some more and going back and forth. And I mean, Alpha is sort of complaining about the sort of how barbaric this planet is. And I'm not sure that's the sort of thing you should. If you're supposed to be an ambassador to a planet, I'm not sure you should go around moaning about how barbaric this place is. I mean, I can think of some politicians these days who might not be afraid to say it. But,
yes, I can think of one in particular.
Yes, exactly. I think. But but Joe's all in pink here, isn't she? So, bit, was it as Nick might say, she dressed a bit like a French fancy, isn't she?
Yeah, a bit. Yeah. She's got quite a long dress for her actually, which is a little impractical for what she's about to do. Cause she's about to try and climb out of the window, isn't she?
Yeah, because I can say in part 1 you've got them clambering about on the cliff face.
Yes.
And I mean, what do you think about trying to do it in those shoes?
They're flat, at least.
We still got some. Well, I was going to say, but now we sort of cut to one of the few film bits, and suddenly they've got the wind machine, haven't they?
Yeah.
So though the wind's blowing an absolute gale outside, there's not much sign of the curtain blowing about inside.
No.
But I like this sort of point of view camera work stuff where she's sort of plastered up against the side of the wall and just looking down to the sort of sheer drop below. But that's nice. You just see the foot and the thing starts to crumble and gives away. But
They
yeah,
don't look that comfortable.
no, you see what I mean.
Actually,
Yeah.
I'm
Those
looking.
shoes,
I'm
yeah.
looking at this shot, thinking this might be quite close to the end of filming.
Why?
Simply for the fact that her feet look like they're a little bit swollen.
All right.
So she's had the shoes on.
Doing this
For a while, because obviously later in the day, sometimes your feet get hot, and they particularly I don't know what time of year this was filmed, but yeah, and they get a bit hot, and they don't look that comfortable. I can't wear shoes like that. My feet are too wide.
Oh,
so.
bit of leg there as
Yeah.
as she sort of shimmies down and.
Yeah.
But yeah, in terms of sort of what I think of this story, I think it's a good story. I don't think it's necessarily a great story.
No.
But I can imagine as a kid
You would
that you would have been really excited by all the different monsters.
Yes.
You know, it does feel like you've got a lot for your money, I think. Or as Agador as well, don't forget. Agador. Sort of zoom into his mouth. But of course, you're always fond of Agador anyway, aren't you?
Yes,
Because he's a furry thing.
He's a furry thing. I like furry things.
And you like furry things.
Yes, I do.
Yeah, that's it. Get off. But so we've got Grun here, haven't we? So Gordon St. Clair. And yeah, so he gets a little bit of time with the Doctor, but not too much. But I'm trying to think who else you've got in here. What other stuff we've seen them in, really?
Probably not too much.
No, I don't know. I mean, that gun is just sort of. It just looks far too impractical. Like,
It does.
How would he aim it properly? Because it's got such a great big sort of barrel on it. You'd have to sort of. It's almost like a bazooka or something.
Yes.
You'd have to sort of hold it on your shoulder, but he's lumbering off at slow speed. He's going to have a go, isn't it? I think it's quite interesting that you've only got one Ice Warrior costume here. So he's got the best bits. So they've sort of chosen the bits that fit him. Because in Monster of Peladon, they've got like 3 or 4 other ones, haven't they?
Yeah, and one of them's got a weird head, isn't it?
They all. I like the idea that each Ice Warrior looks different. You know, so we're not talking Sontarans here.
No.
But unfortunately, the one with the sort of big body and the weird little head, he does look a little out of proportion.
Because one of them's got a spindly arm as well, isn't it? Or is that in one of the black and white stories?
I can't remember. But yeah, there's Agador sort of lumbering through the shadow. The lighting's very nice in this because it is all, you know. Yes, you've got the torches, but they have turned down, you know, the studio lights here just to really sort of give it some atmosphere. And people have described this as a very, you know, in the sort of gothic tradition of Doctor Who, in that there's not so much the horror of it, but the atmosphere of it. So you've got the thunder and the lightning going on. That's very sort of Brain Morbius Frankenstein, isn't it? There's a lot of shadow. You know, there's if you can't see more than like sort of 6 foot beyond the shadows, you know, anything could be lurking in here. So yeah, I mean, it's Barry Letts, and Barry Letts doesn't pour on the horror as much as Philip Hinchcliffe era does. But I can imagine that it could be fairly atmospheric for a kid. So yeah, I like, and again, the fact that we're not on Earth means, you know, that it's the unknown, isn't it? There could be anything on this planet. So personally, I like the idea that, you know, but by this point in the Pertwee era, we're already pushing to do stories off the planet, because it's that old Terrence Dicks thing about you've got two. What was it? Mac Hulk said you've got 2 stories. Invasion from space
and mad scientist.
And mad scientist. So yeah, they already. Well, I say already, but we're almost. That's the frightening thing. This feels like an early Pertwee story, but we're already almost halfway through John Pertwee's era, aren't we?
Yeah, because this is 3rd season, isn't it?
This is his 3rd season, and it's the 2nd story. But yeah, I mean, great big close up here on Alan Benyon, and although it's a fairly simplistic sort of design, I think it stands up to those sort of close ups. Because there's people have commented that in some way the ice, and I'll say Ice Lord in quotes because they're never actually called Ice Lords on screen at this point. It does have something in common with Darth Vader.
Yeah.
The helmet with and also with Judge Dredd as well.
Yes.
It's because the whole point about Judge Dredd is that you don't see his face.
No.
At least if you're a sort of purist of comics, yeah, we can talk about that another time. But yeah, Pertwee's made his way into the temple, and I love the way immediately he touches it. He gets seized, and he's doing a bit of his face pulling here. Is it his grun's got him hold from behind? But yeah, so it's all a bit of a setup here, isn't it? Really, it's the thing about Hepesh is he the baddie, or is he just trying to protect the old ways?
Yeah, his way of life.
Yeah,
but in these terms of the story, he is a baddie.
Yeah. So yeah, we've got the thing about nobody wants to, or he doesn't want these changes to sort of affect. Sort of
the way he's
the planet for the worse. Yeah. That's the thing. He's afraid of what the Federation, may or may not do. So there we go. That's it. Threatened with death, and it says Doctor Who, not Drew Who.
No,
the Pertwee here is a little bit tricky, but that pretty much flew by for me.
It did, yeah.
Yeah. And I'm really rather pleased how quick that went, actually, because I couldn't tell you, I couldn't tell you necessarily the first time I actually saw it, 'cause having missed the repeat transmission. I think I must have got a tape off of somebody, which was the off-air transmission from 1982. Obviously, it wasn't an Australian copy. Yeah, Ian Scoons his visual effects on this one, or Ian Scones as the joke goes on the Pyramids of Mars DVD, which made our friend Keith laugh like a fool
for quite a long time.
But yeah, there we go, and that's the end titles. Right, very briefly then. What was shown after this? So Curse of Peladon episode 2 is 5:50, followed by 6:15 by It's Cliff Richard, featuring Una Stubbs and Olivia Newton-John and the Flirtations, whoever they are. A Song for Europe 1972, starring the New Seekers. So, yeah, okay. Dixon Doc Green, First Offenders. Yes, that's missing. Anthony Andrews. Who else have we got? Michael Sheard and Sam Kidd. That's Sam Kidd's second appearance on BBC One that day.
Okay.
Because I'm sure I saw it. Yeah,
yes,
he was in Wacko as well.
Yeah.
So Sam Kidd was doing well that day.
He was.
Hollywood premiere The Aquarians, starring Ricardo Montalban as Dr. Delgado.
Okay.
Now that's really quite weird, isn't it? You've got season 9 and the Master's going to come back shortly. But yeah. From his incredible nuclear-powered underwater laboratory, Delgado works in the fascinating and dangerous world of marine life. But a mysterious pollution which is poisoning millions of fish sends him and his dedicated team of experts on a mission which confronts them with a deadly enemy. So it sounds like he's the goodie in this.
It does.
Yeah. The new Dick Emery show. Pat Coombs is there. Alan Cuthbertson. Harold Goodwin. News. Match of the Day and Braden's Week.
Okay.
Dearie me. With John Pittman and Esther Ranson. And The Weatherman at 23:35, followed by Close Down. So there you go. Assuming, of course, you didn't get hit by a power cut. which ironically, power cuts were happening around around the time of the transmission of this story.
They were.
So I've just looked, and episode 1 and 2 get 10.3 and 11.0 million. Episodes 3 and 4 get 7.8 and 8.4.
All right.
So I do think that the second half of the story was sort of affected by power
cuts.
So it's ironic that I got to miss episodes 1 and 2 through our own power cut.
Yes.
So what goes around comes around, you see. Okay, well, thank you everyone. And, we'll be back again with something else.
Okay.
Bye-bye.
Bye.